Hi everybody, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. My favorite makeup today is going to be this. This is my Stila Magnificent Metals liquid eyeshadow, the Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow. This is the color Bronzed Belle. It's this beautiful coppery color. It looks really fabulous on the eyes. I like to use this as an accent when I'm doing my makeup. And today our video is going to be about my theatrical pirate makeup. That's right, you heard me, my theatrical pirate makeup. So I travel around the country performing as a pirate both at the theaters, indoors as well as festivals outdoors, and I actually have a different makeup routine for both of them. Today we're going to be doing my indoor pirate makeup, and once I get that done, I'm even going to put on my fancy pirate hat. So let's get started. So I've already put moisturizer on my face today. Today I'm using the Belif True Cream Aqua Bomb. This stuff is really nice. It's very hydrating, it has a good smell to it, but it doesn't linger, which I also very much appreciate. So when I'm working indoor theater, I don't have to have my makeup last quite as long as if I'm outdoors. Plus, I don't have to wear anything that has sunscreen. So the first thing I always do is I put on a primer. And today's primer is going to be the Makeup Forever. This is the step 1. This is the smoothing primer. And that's because I want to try to cover up any sort of pores and stuff that I'm dealing with on my face. I like this primer also because it plays very well with the foundation I'm going to use, which is also a Makeup Forever foundation. But I have been testing some other primers because I'm always sort of trying to see if there's anything out there that will do the job even better. And sometimes it's the most interesting combinations of primers and foundations that actually work. Often it's the one that goes along with the brand, but sometimes something else works even better for it. And then I usually find a different home or a different foundation to go with the primer I was using. I like this stuff because it does smooth out my pores pretty well, unless I'm having like a particularly bad day. Even though I have pretty good skin most of the time, there's certainly, I still have scarring from when I was a teenager, and there's a chickenpox scar in the middle of my forehead, that sort of thing. You can't quite cover everything up completely. So now that I've got my primer on, so the foundation I'm going to be using is also Makeup Forever, and this is the Matte Velvet. This is the mattifying foundation. I am in the shade 35 Vanilla. So according to Sephora, and every time I sort of get matched for a foundation, I'm considered to be light, almost medium, with neutral undertones. Though I do have a lot of pink in my skin, neutral undertone is generally the foundation that gets picked for me. As you can see, my face is usually a lot pinker than the rest of me. And that's not because I'm getting sun, because I do wear an awful lot of sunscreen. It just, my face naturally gets pink. I'm sure I'm going to end up like my mom with a lot of rosacea and that sort of thing. So I'm always looking for stuff for color correcting. So I'm going to be using my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. I just picked this up at Ulta as part of a haul. Haul in the sense that it was over Black Friday, the Cyber Monday, that 4-day period, and I went into stores to go shopping because it was also my birthday and I wanted to, get some stuff. So I'd never tried these sponges before. I'd seen them on YouTube. I'd seen people using them on YouTube and talking about that they were like, well, they're almost as good as a beauty blender, or they're way better than a beauty blender. You should totally get one. And my beauty blender just got eaten by my cat. Well, not eaten, chomped on by my cat to the point where I could still use it, but I think it's okay to let it go. And so I decided I would try a couple of these, so I bought a 2-pack, and so far I've been pretty impressed. It does pretty much behave the same way as my beauty blender. It does absorb more product, so I find that it's a little more wasteful on the foundation because more of it gets sucked into the sponge. But in terms of applying the makeup, it does pretty much the same job, so that I'm pretty pleased with. So I just want to get a little bit more around my eye area and try to blend that in just a little bit more. This is the area of my face that is the most problematic in terms of getting my makeup on there and getting it to stay. Right in this front area. Because of the nature of the costume I'm wearing, I'm generally wearing a headscarf, so this area up is pretty much gone, so I don't have to bronze like the edge of my forehead or anything like that. And while I might brush my eyebrows up, I don't do a lot with my eyebrows either because in this show you're not going to see them. Now, for different shows, I will go on full Disney villain eyebrow if I'm feeling it, give myself a nice little arch, draw that up there, but for these purposes, I don't think that's necessary today. Alright, well that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty even, and we're still going to put concealer on in a second. Okay, so now I have a pretty even coat of foundation on my face, and so that's looking pretty good. Feeling pretty good about that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my concealer. So the concealer that I like to use when I'm on stage, I do use this in regular life as well, but sometimes it's a little bit, it's pretty thick, it's pretty full coverage. So this is the Kat Von D Lockett Cream Concealer. I'm in the shade L11 Light Neutral. So this has a really cute little doe foot applicator. I'm a big fan of this concealer. I do find a little bit goes a long way. I've tried a bunch of different concealers. I also really like the Urban Decay Naked Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer. I have tried the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I was not a big fan of that. It did not really work for me. I have yet to try Tarte Shape Tape. I've heard many things, but I haven't actually tried that one yet. So right now I'm just sort of getting a base and hitting up some of my discolored spots and that sort of thing. I have a couple of, there's a chickenpox scar on my face. You know, sort of like little imperfections. I just want to lessen their appearance just the tiniest bit. And then we'll just sort of dab this in here to sort of blend this out. This is more concealer than I would use on my regular life, though it's not even like full-on YouTube concealer where, you know, you're drawing like the big triangle here. I don't ever put that much on. For one thing, it's just going to cake up and look ridiculous anyway, at least on my skin. So that's not going to go. But I do like to do a good amount here because this is the problem area. Then I'm going to do some powdering. So I don't actually powder my entire face. I powder the important parts. And for me, that is getting under the eyes here. Usually I'll put that on first and let that sit for a little bit. I'm going to powder my nose, my upper lip, my chin area, and I'm going to powder my forehead. And again, my forehead does not get seen very much, but I don't want the makeup to transfer too much onto the headscarf I would be wearing on a regular basis, because then that would be no fun. So I'm going to let that sit for just a second to let that sort of bake in. It's not necessarily true baking. I don't wait as long as people wait to bake. But just sort of give it a time to set a little bit and then buff it back off. And so I'm using the Sephora mini multitasker brush. I think this is like 45.5. It's a very shiny, cute little brush. I think it was a Christmas gift. In terms of Christmas gift, it was a Christmas gift. They were selling it as a Christmas gift at Sephora. I bought it for myself. Nobody got it for me. You know, just sort of like buffing that in and blending under my eyes. So right now I'm getting pretty good. Basically, I've taken all the color off of my face, and now I have to put the color back on. Alright, so I've got myself powdered and all of that business, and the next thing I'm going to do is, in order I'm going to go, I do blush next. So I'm actually going to be using this blush here. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio. This is in Pink Passion. And the three shades we have here are basically Sugar and Rose. Try to get that so the light's not changing them too much. I'm actually going to go with Rose for today. It's actually a really good blush, like for everyday life too. I just tap off a little bit, and then I'm going to sort of hit the tops of my cheeks for this. Now, because I am on stage, I'm going to be putting on more blush than I would probably do in like regular life, just so everybody can see me from a distance. But I don't need to look like I've been painting my face with like actual red paint. So I want to look natural, but not enhanced natural, as it were. Not quite to the level of like epic drag queen makeup, but you know, I want you to tell I have a face and that I put my cheeks back on and that there's some color in them. So I go to all this trouble basically to cover up the pink on my cheeks, to add it back in with a beautiful blush. Alright, so yeah, now I've got my blush on, and again, going a little heavy, I want it to be visible. And then after that, I'm going to go for my contour. So the contour shade I'm using right now is this Chocolate Soleil. This is in a 500 point perk from Too Faced. This thing's really great. It's great for traveling. And this brush, this is a Multitasker Contour 55 brush from Sephora as well. I just sort of buff a little bit of that off on my hand. And then I'm going to give myself my line, and I sort of just do upward strokes along my contour line. I have tried cream contours and I'm not very good at them yet, so it's one of those things that's a work in progress for me. I want to get better at contouring, but the only way to get better at contouring is to practice. So I've sort of found one way that works for me at the moment, so that's what I'm doing. And as I improve, it will definitely be better makeup along the line. Now, I'm not a makeup artist, I fully admit that, but I have to do a lot of my own makeup when I'm doing shows, so it's sort of like you have to learn by doing, and this does need to be blended out a little bit more today. I don't want to have like a terrible line, but and again, this is just sort of to create the appearance of lines and shadows upon my face from a distance as I'm doing this show. Sometimes, depending on the theater and how I'm feeling that day, I'll also do a little bit as like a chin. Because again, this is not natural makeup, this is stage. So you have to be a little bit more enhanced than you are in your regular life, shall we say. Alright, so, not my finest contour ever, but you know what, we're going to go with it. You still can do this, you sort of like, that's what the little whole duck face I think is all about, is making you have cheekbones you don't really have. And also now my contour is giving me cheekbones that I do not have. Anyway, so that's that for there. And now we're going to move on to my favorite part, which is my highlighter. So I'm going to do two kinds of highlighter actually today. First I'm going to use this. This is the Fenty Beauty Matchstix. This is in the color Starstruck. And the way this works, you can draw directly onto your face. I don't actually find that that works quite as well. So what I'll do is I'll draw it on my hand, sort of like soften up the tip. And then I will use my finger to put that on my face. Because for this is like a base layer because of the cream product. You have to do it a little bit quickly because since it is a cream product, that it's drying to a powder finish. So you want to get it while it's still a little slippery so you can apply it to your face. Now I don't find that it does really disrupt your foundation. If you wanted to draw it directly on your face, you can. I find that because it's kind of cold, it's winter time, I have to warm this up a little bit if I want to draw directly on my face. And it works just as well to just put it on the back of my hand. So that's what I do. This is what, basically the Fenty Beauty is creating a place for a powder highlight to stick on top of it. So now I put on the Fenty Beauty, and I'm a really big fan. I do wear them by themselves, but not for theater. And then next I'll get out my glow kit. So the glow kit I've been taking with me right now, I know this is a limited edition. This sold out a couple months ago, though they do occasionally appear every once in a while on the Anastasia website. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Guerrero glow kit. And these are some of the colors in there. I'm a big fan. I tend to use Kitty Cat when I'm doing stage stuff, but I will also go with Forever Young. And if I'm feeling particularly sassy that day, I will also add Forever Lit on top because it's really, really blinding. But I tend to use that actually when I'm going outdoors. So in terms of what I would do today, I think I would just take a little bit of Kitty Cat. And I'm using my Sephora brush. This is a multitasker blush brush 54. And then I will just put this on the tops of my cheekbones and down here along my temple. So as you can see, because it sort of starts sticking to the rest of that Fenty Beauty, I get a really blinding glow. And in terms of, do pirates wear highlighter? Of course they do. Till someone tells me I can't wear highlighter, I'm gonna wear it. This is not a natural highlight, no. But you know, I've been at sea a long time. So that's Kitty Cat on top of Starstruck. So now that I've gotten all my face products done, I'm going to move on to my eyes. So what I'm going to use next is my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, and this is the anti-aging formula. Just happens to be the one I picked. I really didn't care which one was which when I picked this out. I liked this one because it does have a tinted base to it, so that if you know your eyelids are discolored for whatever reason, this would cover it up. They also sell this packaging with sort of an applicator wand, but this is one of the packaging that they made at the very beginning, and when they clearanced all of this, this was like $8 a tube instead of $24, so I went with this one. Right, so I don't do too much in terms of eyes. Well, as I'm saying that out loud, that sounds silly. I probably do. So I don't use a lot of different colors though. I sort of have a very basic thing. I try to minimize the number of steps, considering that, you know, I'm doing my own makeup. I don't always have a ton of time to get it done, and I want to make sure that I do a good job. So I'm going to go back to this Too Faced Mini Chocolate Bar palette, and I'm going to go back into this Salted Caramel shade here. I'm going to be using, these are all Sephora eye brushes. This came in a set. I've had these for years. I don't really know the difference between a good eyeshadow brush and a bad eyeshadow brush, but I find that these brushes seem to work fine for me as far as I'm trying to do things, so I assume that they're good. So I'm going to take that Salted Caramel shade and I'm going to take that all along my crease. And just try to blend that all over. We may get a visit from my cat while I'm blending my eyeshadow. She's usually very interested in this sort of thing. And I'm actually going to take salted caramel all along the lid. Part of the reason I take this palette is I feel like with the 4 colors you have available, since I do use the Chocolate Soleil as another eyeshadow color, you can pretty much cover all your bases if you just need to do a really basic brown eye. See, right now some of the eyeshadow primer potion got underneath my eye and is sort of clumping up on me, so I'm going to have to fix that. I'll fix it in post. Just kidding. Anyway, so now I've taken salted caramel all along the lid, so let me do that with the other eye. One thing I really enjoy about these Too Faced shadows, at least this formula, is that I don't really get any fallout, so I'm able to put my whole face on first and then put this on the very last thing. So now I've taken salted caramel all over the lid. I'm going to take Chocolate Soleil, which is the large shade here, and I'm going to do that on the inner half of my lid. So I sort of take this in stages. I do the crease first, then I do the inner half of my eyelid. I tend to go slightly a shade darker than what I'm using in my crease. And I'll bring that all the way to the middle of the eye, just to sort of darken that up a little bit. The difference, salted caramel has more of like an oranginess to it, whereas the Chocolate Soleil is really just a brown. And now I'm going to take that darkest shade. I'm going to take this darkest shade here, Semi Sweet. I'm using the same brush. This is just an eyeshadow brush. It's nothing particularly exciting. Tap that off a little bit. These aren't too powdery, but sometimes they get a little bit much. And I'm going to work that into my outer V, I think is the YouTube makeup terminology for it. I have read makeup books to try to get better at my makeup, but at the same time, sort of just learn by doing and watching other people do it and go, oh, do you think I could figure that out? It's possible. Let's try. So my shadow is pretty well blended, though I could do more. The reason I do not is because I'm going to add some things on top of the lid, and any blending I will have done will be invisible to the naked eye, so I don't go to that much trouble. But first I'm going to do my brow bone shade. I'm going to take that Champagne Truffle shade up at the top. I really love this shade. If I'm going to hit pan on anything in this kit, it's going to be this one first. Tap that off, just sort of get that nice shimmer up here. I really love this one. And if I'm not bringing any other colors with me, I will also use this as an inner corner highlight in a pinch. So it is a little pinky pink pink. Alright, got that done. Alright. So, I have done that part. And what's going to happen now is now I'm going to put my eyeliner on. Now, if you've seen me do eyeliner in any other video, you will know that I don't have the best hand for it. So a lot of it is sort of you do the eyeliner and then you fix it afterwards. So the eyeliner I'm going to be using is the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in the shade Trooper. This is a black liner. I love the tip on this. I think this is just really easy to use. It's easy to hold on to. And I sort of don't my cat's saying hey. I'm not completely terrible at using this kind of a liner. Alright, so I put a layer of the eyeliner on. It's not the best eyeliner job I've ever done. It's certainly not the worst. But again, the eyeliner is sort of just to help give me some more definition in the eye. In terms of doing anything on my waterline, it's a complete disaster. There's a little bit here in the corners of my eye that I do add there because I'm going to be putting some more shadow on top of it, and I find if it has something to stick to, it stays a little better for me. And similar to this, so I'm going to be taking another eyeshadow brush, this little guy, this little tip, and I'm going to be going back into my Semi-Sweet, and I'm going to pack this on top of that black eyeliner. So I'm not really dusting any off. I'm just tapping this on top. So this is sort of muting the really harsh black line that I have right now and allowing me to sort of smoke it out a little bit. In terms of lower lashes, I'm going to be putting on mascara anyway, and whenever I smoke underneath the lower lash line, it doesn't really show up if I'm already because when I have mascara on my lower lashes are fairly long anyway, so it kind of covers up any makeup I put underneath. In addition to that, I get fairly sweaty on stage, and I'm going to have water thrown at my face in the particular show that I'm doing, which is The Greatest Pirate Story Never Told. Never told. I'll put a link to that in this description if you're interested in taking a look at the show. But part of the show involves having buckets of water, literally buckets, thrown in my face. So I've tried a lot of different makeup combinations to see what will actually stick to my face and not come off completely as soon as water hits it. And you might think, why don't you just use a waterproof mascara? Well, I find waterproof mascaras can be kind of difficult to get off, and then they'll take my actual lashes with them. And I don't want to wear false lashes because the last thing I need is a false lash just dangling here in front of my face. I'm sure people do it all the time, I'm sure that they do, but for me it's just not worth the trouble. So what I actually will use is this mascara. This is Blink mascara. This is a fiber mascara. Well, it's a tube mascara. It's a tubing mascara technically. And the way this works is you sort of go back and forth with it like you're brushing your teeth, but on your eyelashes. And what that will do is it will coat your lashes in these little tubes, and then the tubes do not come off until you use warm water and gentle pressure. And I usually just do it in the shower. So then I'll go in the shower and I'll sort of like rub my lashes very gently and pull off the spidery effect of the mascara. Yeah. So next up I'm going to be putting on this mascara. You sort of like wiggle it around in the tube to get product on it. The thing about this mascara is you want to put as many coats on one side as you want right away, because if you don't, once it starts to dry, it's no longer, you're not able to add more coats to it. That's just the end. Shout out to Amanda Ting for suggesting that I use this mascara in the first place. This is a brand that they do carry at Sephora, but they pretty much just carry it in their fancy mascara section. It doesn't have any other makeup there, although I have seen stuff in like a BoxyCharm and that sort of thing. They do make other makeup, but they pretty much only sell the black mascara. I know they have colored mascara. I think you can purchase it on Amazon now. So that's something I'd certainly like to try at some point because I love a good colored mascara. So the last things I need to do are I need to add my glitter, and I need to do just a little bit of an inner corner highlight. So I'm going to take a little bit of Champagne Truffle. I'm just going to pop that on my finger and just tap that a little bit just to get that going. I'm not going crazy about it. I just like to give it a little bit, and sort of it'll help clean up any sort of mess I might have made with my eyeliner as well. So the last thing I'm going to use is my Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow. This is the shade Bronzed Belle. It comes with a little applicator like this. These things are great, but they are expensive. A full size of these is $24. They do sell some little kits that have a couple different shades in them. And so I definitely do recommend that. If you really want to try this out, try getting one of the little sets to see if you like it or not, because either you're going to like this stuff or you're going to hate it, I think. So I sort of dab a little bit on there, and then I'm going to use my finger to blend it out. And I want most of the glitter to be on the outside. So again, this is why I didn't really bother too much with blending the very outside, because I'm just going to cover it with glitter anyway. And that's going to take a lot of that away. And same thing with the other. And again, there's lots of ways to wear this. You don't have to do it this way. I find this is the easiest way to get the coverage I'm looking for. And it doesn't use a ton of product, but you still get a really good effect from it. Yeah, that's looking good. I actually have, I think, glitter from something else that I think there's glitter on some of my brushes, and I've touched my face. So, but otherwise, the fallout on this is very minimal. I'm very grateful for that. Alright. So the last thing I'm going to do is put on my lipstick. So my favorite lipstick that I use as a pirate would be this. This is my Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Outlaw. This is my favorite red of all time. Though I have been trying the Fenty Beauty Stunna Lip Paint. I think the color on it is amazing. It's so opaque. It goes on so easily. You only have to do, well, it goes on in only one coat, which is really exciting. It is very liquidy, and therefore it can get all over your face if you're not careful, but the Fenty Beauty does transfer a lot, and that's really been a problem. This stuff, once this sets down, doesn't really transfer at all, at least on my face. Now for me, the Kat Von D only takes one swipe as well, in terms of I don't have to re-dip into the product to use it. I might go around a couple more times, just sort of fill in the whole thing, but I just really love this color. It's just a really nice red. I think it's very flattering. And once this dries, it will stay on my face and it really won't come off for anything. There is some kissing in our show as well, so that if I'm reapplying during intermission and we're kissing right away, then it might be a little bit smudgy. Or if the water's hit me in the face and sort of removed my protective powder layer off of everything, I might smudge a little bit. But in general, everything sort of stays in place, and any lipstick that comes off onto him and not onto me. So now that I have my full face done, I'm looking pretty good at this point, I'm going to use this, which is my Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. And I just sort of just do like a Z across. And that gives me sort of like a nice finish as well. And the most important part of all is becoming a pirate. Now you may notice I have actually managed to match my lipstick to my hat, which was clearly on purpose, as everyone knows. Again, this is stage makeup, so I'm going to look a little bit more intense than I would probably do in my regular makeup. However, I really like the effect that I get from this. Children tend to respond well to it, and it makes me feel pretty when I'm going out there and about. So I feel very confident and strong when I'm wearing this makeup. You can't go wrong with a good red, and you can't go wrong with a good red hat as far as I'm concerned. I'm wearing 2 red hats. How fancy is that? If you'd like to check out our show, we are the greatest pirate story never told. I'll put the link below to our website so you can check us out if you'd like. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day!